Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to end of day stock market update. This is S&P 500 SPX daily chart. And you can see today's candle is also looking very bullish. And you can see we are now closing above this white line. This is 20 EMA line. And this yellow line is 50 EMA. Okay, so we are finding some resistance here, and you can see the projection here from now till the end of this year. If you can hold till December, I'm looking for new all-time highs, and from today's close to the new all-time highs to previous high is around 5%. But if we go further away from today's close, if we go to new all-time high, we are looking for almost 10%. Okay, so this is my projection. Obviously we're not going to go in a straight line, and there is a gap here around 4400. I would say this gap here around 4400. So what could happen is we most likely we're going to fill this gap, okay, and then we're going to get a little bit of pullback, then we're going to face some resistance on this trend line, a little bit pullback, and then we go higher. Okay, so it's going to be higher highs, higher lows, and that's what I'm expecting. There's also this downward trend line. You can see this is also a resistance trend line. So first of all, looks like we're going very close to filling this gap. Maybe we'll get a little bit pullback, just keep going higher and higher. All right, so I'm going to delete this for now, but that's what I'm expecting. So you just got to be patient and hold. You can see on a daily chart, you can see these blue lines. These are 200 EMA and 200 SMA. Dark blue line is 200 SMA. We came very close to 200 SMA on daily chart, and now we are bouncing. All right, so nothing changed. Everything is looking bullish. Next bullish event will be a close above this downward sloping 50 EMA. If we close above that, then it's going to be very bullish. All right, and now let's go to NDX. Nasdaq is totally different. You can see 2 days in a row, so we are closing above all the moving averages. Nasdaq is holding very strongly, and you can see Nasdaq is going to help S&P 500 and other stock market to go higher. So you can see 2 days in a row we closed above this 50 SMA red line. So this is a very bullish event. And now there are multiple gaps. There are 3 gaps from here to the top side. So all 3 gaps from today's close, they are very close. So first gap is around 1.65%, second gap and third gaps are around 4% away. And if I zoom out, my target for the end of this year from today's close is new all-time high. So we're looking at almost 10% and higher. Okay, so almost 16,800 is what I'm looking for. Again, we do not need to necessarily go straight up. We can get some pullbacks, and those pullbacks are the dips to buy. There are no guarantees we're gonna get pullbacks, but if you get pullbacks, if you miss this pump, then you should be looking to buy. If you subscribe to my channel, there's a private Discord group. I'm sharing this with my subscribers. I told them, I even shared weekly chart. I will show you again here, and let me get that indicator. Let me get rid of this indicator. And I was telling everybody, even yesterday's video, if you're watching, I was telling weekly channel, you can see weekly chart, we bottom between green and red lines, and looks like we already bottom and now we're going higher. So from here looks like we're going towards a new all-time high. You can see here in a bull market we always go between these 2 lines and go higher. Always, you can see in a bull market on weekly chart, always go between these 2 lines and then go higher, and looks like we already completed that this time, and now we are heading higher from here. All right, so let me get rid of this, and now let's go back to daily chart and let's get back to the other indicator I have before. Okay, here you go. So Nasdaq is looking good. 2 days in a close, 2 days in a row, close above this daily 50 SMA. So just looking for higher highs, higher lows, and to the new all-time high from here till end of this year. All right, so let's look at Dow Jones. Dow Jones also trying its best. It's closed above this 200 SMA, which is very good. So it's up 0.36%, just closed above this 200 SMA. Again, we will have some little pullbacks, but again, looking for Dow Jones is a bit weaker than Nasdaq. Nasdaq is going to be first reaching to new all-time highs, but Dow Jones is going to fall behind that. So just keep that in mind. US 2000, which is Russell 2000, IWM ETF, which is a little bit weaker. Let me show you IWM ETF. Let's quickly review this. You can see the good thing is I had this drawn before. There is a gap here. Let's go to 1 hour chart and let's see if the gap is filled or not. Let's go to regular trading session. We still did not fill this gap. Okay, you can see this gap which came on 10th of October still did not fill this gap. So I think There's still a possibility from here we can come back, fill this gap, and also this is the trend line here, white dotted trend line. It's possible we'll fill this gap and then go higher. All right. And on Dow Jones, let's quickly see. Let's go to 1 hour chart and see if we still did not fill this yellow gap, the top gap. So I think we're gonna still go higher, fill this gap, then get a little bit pull back, and then go higher. All right. So that's on Dow Jones. So let's quickly go to VIX and see what's happening on VIX. Is crashing. You see my indication here. This is cycle low coming here. So I think most likely it's gonna just chop around and eventually go lower. It can come to new lows by the end of this year, which is going to be very bullish for stock market. Gold, again, this gap here, you can see, let me delete this line. You can see this gap here. This gap happened on 6th of October, Israel attack. And this gap will eventually fill. Okay, so we cannot have this big gap here. So I think gold will eventually come lower in October sometime and then go higher. Silver will just follow it, and it's again facing resistance here. So this is the perfect time where silver can find some weakness, go lower, and then go higher. This CPI report coming, I think, tomorrow, day after. So that could, if a high number can make a gold dump, so that would be a good time to buy. Natural gas was down heavily in the morning, almost 4%, but it recovered very nicely by the end of this day. And you can see prices above all moving averages, and it's looking good, looking for this next target around 4.34. And from today's close, this target is around 23% away. Crude oil dumped. You can see this gap up. This gap is filled now. You can see this gap after Israel invasion. So I can delete this now. And you can see the gap is totally filled. And this is where now we want to see if crude oil can find support and bounce, or it's going to fail and then go lower. All right. Dollar, again in the support box. I do have projection down. That's what I'm expecting, because I think longer term we're going to go, stock market is going to go to new all-time high. So that's going to maybe weak dollar and higher gold. So I think there will be a little bit bounces going along, but eventually looking for lower highs and lower lows on dollar. Bitcoin, yesterday we got red confirmation dot. I told all my subscribers, if you watch my video, I told you red dot is coming, and you can see today a massive 2.48%, almost 3% down one time. So this is very bearish. I was telling it in order for reversal, I want to see green dot right away, but I did not see. So now we're going lower. Ethereum also same thing. We got actually on Ethereum red dot a while ago. So in order to be bullish, I want to see a reversal, and I want to see green dot, red dot turn into a green dot. But right now there are no indications. So I think there's a lot of pressure, and I think we might be coming back on this 25K support box on Bitcoin. And on Ethereum, we are already there. We're already at the bottom range of this this box. So yeah, just wait for this green dot before you buy again. All right. Let's look at all the tech stocks. Apple bouncing, getting closer to the buy zone, gap fill here around 181.52. Now price action is above all moving averages, so Apple is looking very bullish, and I think the target from here, from today's candle till the new highs, is around 8.5%. All right. Tesla also back on this trend line, looking very nice, just holding everything nicely above all moving averages. The target is 291, and from today's close, and earnings are coming actually very, very soon. So the target is 10%. So earnings is coming when? Next Wednesday. So today is October 11th. So next Wednesday earnings are coming in a week. I think that would be a good target. I think earnings would be good, and we might be opening there. Microsoft looking good, looking for these gap fills. Google already filled this gap, so we can delete this. And you look what happened on Google. It's the candle is above this trend line. So if I hide this, I can show you better. You can see this candle is now above this trend line, which is very bullish news. And now Google is looking for new all-time high, guys. Look, it's already there already. So very, very surprising. Google is massively poised towards new all-time high. So Google is leading the indexes. All right. So that's a good news. And we are in a bull market. So that shows. Meta also new highs. All right, a little bit divergence, but it can still keep going, and it's also getting closer to new highs. So this is bullish news all across the globe for all tech sector. Amazon, you can see here, Amazon is trying its best to go above this 50 downward sloping EMA line, looking good, looking for higher prices. Netflix is a bit weaker, and looks like we got a red sell signal, but we got a new low. But you can see RSI still higher. 1 hour chart, very, very oversold, but you can see what's happening. We are still higher on RSI. The momentum is still higher, You can see here we're making a new low, but on higher momentum on RSI, on daily chart. Also, you can see new low. RSI is still a little bit higher, so that's a good news. But we want to see a green dot before we get bullish again. Snowflakes are also above all moving averages. The targets are these two, 176 and 185. NVDA up 2.2%. This gap is filled, so we can delete this. So now sky is the limit. It can keep going higher. No targets above this. AMD above all moving averages, 3 days in a row above all moving averages. Very good consolidation, getting ready for a massive pump in my opinion. Toronto Stock Exchange also going higher, and there is a gap here, so that's the only thing which I'm worried, but it doesn't need to fill now. It can keep going higher, but everything is looking good. Hang Seng Index, China, you can see this downward sloping trend line. We broke out. Now finding resistance on 50 EMA and 50 SMA. That's our resistance. This is where we could get a little bit pullback before we go higher. But wait for this resistance to break, all right? Bond market looks like bottom is in with divergence, new lows. Now this downward trend line. So let me hide this downward sloping trend line, wait for it to close above that. Also, we're getting in this red resistance box, so wait to go above that on the bond. Copper, let me bring this back. Copper is in the buy zone here. This is where you want to buy copper. Palladium also, now this support became resistance, so trying its best, but also Palladium is also, I think you can see a little bit of divergence happening on Palladium, which is a good news. You can see here we made a new low with higher momentum on RSI, so right in the resistance box, but this is where Palladium should be holding. Wheat also a little bit weak, but again this could be a consolidation before we get a massive move out. And then corn also now above all moving averages except 50 EMA, so trying its best to go out of this downtrend with higher, you can see RSI has higher momentum here. You can see we're making new lows on higher momentum on RSI, so which is a good sign. So beans down 1.58%, again in the buy box. This is where you want to buy. Sugar down 2%, 2.92%, looking for, you can see this indication here, looking for this to go back to this trend line. This is where we would be looking to buy. That's a good area to hold or buy sugar. Cane is the ETF you can use to buy sugar. All right, let's quickly look at gold miners. Newmont Mine looking for this gap here, multiple gaps. It doesn't need to get this dip, which I'm expecting down, but there are multiple gaps to the upside. It can go there first. Gold miners looks like 1 hour chart, another gap up. So let me hide this. So I have to indicate those gaps so I remember. Good for analysis. You can see today also we had a gap up here, so we can put bottom gaps as green and top gaps as yellow. All right, so another gap up here. Newmont Mine also, no gaps on Newmont. And let's quickly look at XLK. Let's go to daily chart, and you can see here XLK keep going higher. Tech sector, there's a gap here. Doesn't need to fill right now. It can keep going higher. This will follow triple Qs and Nasdaq. Let's go back to this EMA lines and see what's happening here. So again, this one also closing above all moving averages. So we can expect a little bit of dip after filling some of these gaps, and then we can keep going higher to new all-time highs. XLE energy sector, you can see this projection very close to filling this gap. So I think we will go and fill this gap from here and then go higher. Healthcare sector consolidating. Trying its best to hold here and then bounce, finding resistance on this 200 SMA EMA. Not able to close above that, but it's above these trend lines, so everything is looking good. XLU massive move up. This gap is filled, so you can delete that. And you can see now it's back on this resistance area. This is where we could expect a little bit of pullback on XLU utility sector before we go higher, but eventually long term we are looking for higher prices on utility sectors. All these yellow lines are gaps to fill. Industrials, again, very close to this gap fill. Now it's following exactly the green line, so looking for higher prices. Real estate sector also going above after coming to this support box, massive 2% pump, looking for higher prices from here. So we can go like this and then go higher. XLF financials came very close to gap fill, but still is not done. Looking for this gap to fill around $33. Good time to buy that time and then go higher. KRE regional bank ETF, also this gap here around 41.14, looking for that to fill before going higher. All right. Okay, guys, that's about it. And let's quickly look at zones for where we are now and for tomorrow. By the way, guys, if you want to subscribe, if you like what you're seeing, and if you want to make some quick money, I share these zones with my subscribers daily pre-market before market open, so they know exactly the levels, and you can make money. One trade can make money for the entire subscription. It's like $7 a month, which is very cheap. So think about it. It's very good. You can see I gave these levels this morning. This is futures running right now. These are short-term charts. So this morning we were here in the sell zone. I told everybody that we are in the sell zone. We could expect pullback, and exactly where we got pullback to the neutral zone. You can see nicely 0.5%. And I said this is where at least you should be looking to buy. And from neutral zone, look what happened. We got back to the sell zone around 0.87%. So you can easily make 1% here. Nasdaq, same thing here. I was telling everybody we're in the sell zone, and then you can see what happened to the neutral zone, almost 0.8%, and then came from neutral zone to the buy zone. So you can see easy trades, easy money you can make just knowing these levels and knowing where the stocks are opening. US 30 coming close to buy zone as well, sell zone as well, and then Russell 2000 is also getting now closer to sell zone. All right. So I'm just going to share these, and then other ones I will share with my subscribers. But you can see right now, to end this, US 500 is very, very overbought, and even Nasdaq is overbought. This is where you should be looking to take profits and do not take high risk trades. Okay, guys, hopefully this is helpful, and please hit the like button on your way out and share with your friends and family, and have a happy rest of the good Wednesday. Bye.